NBC10 commentator Sue O'Connell to talk the politics of this. Sue, a lot of inside baseball last week as the government inched toward a shutdown. The Republican-controlled Senate needed 8 Democrats to vote with them to keep the government open. And on Friday, we didn't know if the Democrats would try to block that spending bill. But in the end, 10 voted with the Republicans, more than they needed. So the government is funded for now.
For now.
For now. How are the rest of the Democrats, all but those 10, reacting to their decision?
Well, JC, there's outrage. Many Democrats, progressive and liberals, are very disappointed and angry at Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer for leading the vote for the measure. So look, while the risk was high, if the Democrats allowed the government to shut down, that would empower President Trump and Elon Musk to determine the essential employees and departments and what would close and what wouldn't. And it may not have ended. They could have kept it closed for a long time. And many Democrats wanted to push back against what they see as this executive overreach by the Trump administration. Schumer has been on the defense since that vote on Friday, facing protests from Democrats and criticism from his colleagues. Even former Speaker Nancy Pelosi called his decision, quote, unacceptable. And current Speaker Hakeem Jeffries, he declined to comment when asked about the vote. He kept saying no comment. So some are questioning Schumer's fitness right now to lead the Senate Democrats in this moment.
All right, you talked about the president's overreach here. There are a number of reports about people being detained or deported. The president invoked the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, that's 1798, in order to deport nearly 200 Venezuelan non-citizens to El Salvador. On Saturday, a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to stop these deportations. They continued. What's happening here?
So it appears that President Trump may have ignored that order from a federal judge, and that potentially creates a constitutional crisis. Now, if that turns out to be true, then we have a crisis. How so? Because the 3 branches of government are co-equal. So if a president disobeys a court order, enforcement options are the U.S. Marshals could intervene, but guess who they report to? The Department of Justice, who the president heads, or Congress could act through impeachment. We went through that already. We know how that's going to end, or funding cuts, or with legislation. And with Republicans leading Congress, those options seem unlikely. And that means we would have a constitutional crisis. Now, right now, there's a hearing happening to determine if the administration defied that judge's order. So we'll have more about that at 6, and certainly with Lester tonight.
Right, because they said they didn't hear about that order until that plane was already out of jurisdiction.
Because it was a verbal order, but if it's a military plane, jurisdictional issues should not be an issue.
Interesting debate. Thank you so much,
You're
Sue.
welcome, JC.
We'll keep watching that.